There are true American heroes living among us who don't wear a badge.
Get in the car.
Please, God, help!
Open the door, get in.
As the tornado passed and their family crawled out, a hero just emerged.
I just so happened to be in the right place at the right time.
When he saw a woman drowning, he just had to act. Are you trained as a lifeguard?
No, sir.
I just think it's great that you did what you did. I have a question for you, and it's not an easy one. Would you step into the danger zone and put your own life at risk to save someone else? It's okay not to answer. Some of us will never know, not until we're put in a life or death situation. Others, however, are natural-born heroes. Since the beginning of 2025, we have witnessed both kinds of heroism, and they are equally awe-inspiring. The wildfires that devastated California brought the world's bravest firefighters, putting their lives on the line to battle the worst fires Southern California has ever seen. During the firestorms, we also saw regular people go to extraordinary measures, like Hunt Turner of Altadena, who jumped into action as his neighbors' homes became engulfed in flames.
I fortunately have a pool, and so we started what we call the bucket brigade, where all the neighbors and friends who were there at the time started grabbing buckets, carrying water across the street and dousing the flames as much as we can just to try to keep things under control. It was pretty intense for a long time. And what we're really proud of, and we'd like to think we had a significant impact, is no houses south of us, when the winds were blowing south, no houses south of us burned. So we really feel like we might have been a significant part of that blockade to stop the fire from continuing south.
A few weeks later, we saw heroes of a different kind. Divers didn't waste a second searching the frozen Potomac River after the deadly mid-air collision. They worked around the clock, dodging debris with near zero visibility until the heart-wrenching recovery was complete. And just days ago in Toronto,
the crew of Delta Flight 4819 heroically led passengers to safety, evacuating a jet that had overturned on the runway on landing that was amidst smoke and fire. I thank each and every one of these heroes, every flight attendant and crew member on Delta Flight 4819.
The flight came from Minneapolis carrying 76 passengers and 4 crew members. All survived. I want to thank Preserve Gold for sponsoring this episode and saluting these true American heroes. You'll learn more about Preserve Gold throughout tonight's episode. We begin with the story of Kasey and Wes and their 2 young children. They hid in their small closet as a tornado came barreling towards their home. That tornado was the size of 2 football fields. Wind speed, 165 deadly miles per hour.
Tornado came from right over there.
You could see the rotation in the clouds. They issued the first tornado warning around 7 o'clock.
We thought, get in the closet. I'll stay out and keep an eye on it.
I went into the closet with the children, and they knew something was not right. They kept asking for Daddy.
Whenever that tornado dropped down just this side of that tree line, that's when I knew I needed to take shelter myself.
He came and joined us, and his first words were, "It's here."
It was just a nice little breeze right up until you just hear the windows breaking, rock and brick start collapsing, nails being pulled out of boards.
You could just start feeling the house collapsing on us, and remember feeling, we're gonna get crushed to death. This is how I am going to die.
You could look up and see daylight. The roof was gone.
The hot water heater is what hit and moved us. We were bleeding from all kinds of areas. And then that's when Lane was pulled. Lane was sucked from us. It was like grabbing for a rope that someone else was pulling from you.
Lane had disappeared out of our grasp.
He was gone.
I had got whirled around and then tossed.
I just remember screaming for Lane as loud as I could. And all of a sudden, he says, "I'm right here, I'm okay." And then I just started yelling, "We gotta go."
Well, Kasey and Wes say as the tornado passed and their family crawled out from underneath the debris of a home that crumbled on top of them, a hero just emerged and answered their prayers.
Please tell me they're not just at a house here. Oh my gosh, there's people.
Get in! Get in the car! Get in the car!
Please, God, help!
Open the door, get in!
Freddy!
Come on, guys!
Thank you for saving us. Thank you for saving us. Thank you for saving us. I knew Lane was bleeding heavily, and I knew that he needed attention fast.
Get in! Get in!
I know.
I'm a stormchaser. My name's Freddy. Do you know where the nearest hospital
Yes.
is?
I don't feel so good.
You survive the tornado, and then you still have to get medical help.
Lane, can you talk to me? Just tell me your name. Just tell me something.
Freddie could have continued following that tornado, but he made a choice to save our family, to ruin his car, and to get the four of us to safety.
Had Freddy have not got us to the hospital, I don't like to think about what could have happened.
I don't know that all four of us would still be here today. And so Freddie has become our hero. There's hardly anything left but debris. There's a concrete slab, there's the tile that was there.
I laid the tile. We built this house on a budget 10 years ago and put everything we had into it.
I don't understand how that stayed. It's our wedding invitation. The night we moved in was our wedding night. Next month, we would have been here 10 years. And so this house does mean a lot to me. It's where we brought our children home, and we had our first memories together as a family.
Now this is all that's left.
Kasey, you believe the man who drove up to your house truly saved your family.
So when the tornado was, thank you. When the tornado was hitting us, the entire time that it was there, I just prayed nonstop. God, please save us. Please protect us, over and over. And I turned toward the driveway, and there was a car. And that car was Freddy. And I truly believe the Lord sent Freddy to our driveway to get us to the hospital safely that day. Yes, sir.
Because, I mean, there were cars flying around. I mean, a car that could drive up and park there is just astounding. This is a helpless feeling. You said there was a gentle breeze, right? It wasn't like really violent until bang, right at the moment.
Yes, sir. It was indescribable, just the calmness in the weather, just right up until the tornado was on our house. Had this been at nighttime, I can't foresee us having got to safety in time.
You guys said if you had been in bed, you wouldn't even have been awakened.
Correct.
Wow. You were holding on to Lane, and we're talking about being sucked out of your arms to the point that you couldn't even hold on, right?
Yes. As you start hearing bricks falling on top of you and feeling the impact, we started protecting each other. Wes and I did. Allie was she describes herself as the donut, the middle of the donut. And so she was in my arms. I had a hand over Lane, I believe, and then my other hand up over Wes's head. And then Wes also had his arm over my head, and he remembers getting hit here, which is what broke his wrist that would have hit my head. So we were in a protect and cover mode, and never did it cross my mind to hold on to them.
Never would you think that I need to hold on to my children or my wife because they might be ripped from my arms. As a dad, as a husband, you're looking to protect your family, not grab a hold of your family.
Yeah.
And in that split instance, your family just gets ripped from you.
I remember a force at one point. We were together, the four of us, and then I remember a force which we believe was the hot water heater that came through the wall next to and hit me. And I rolled, and that's when things started to get out of control. Shortly after that, I remember Lane being sucked from us. He was just, all of a sudden he's there and then he's not. And you couldn't reach for him. And I remember thinking that I have just lost my son. our son is gone. And really shortly after that, he was also thrown. And then I had just lost my husband.
The IRS is the largest collection agency, with April 15th fast approaching. It's more aggressive than ever. If you owe back taxes or have unfiled returns, waiting's not an option. The smart move is to get ahead of this. Listen, never contact the IRS alone. Let the experts at Tax Network USA handle it for you. Tax Network USA has a preferred direct line to the IRS. Now, whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, Tax Network USA's attorneys and negotiators have already resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. Talk with one of their strategists today. It's free. Call 1-800-958-1000 or visit tnusa.com/Dr. Phil. That's tnusa.com/Dr. Phil. April 15th is just around the corner. Act now. Struggling with foot, knee, or back pain? G-Defy shoes can change your life. G-Defy shoes are FTC approved to relieve pain caused by weight-bearing activities like walking, running, or prolonged standing. G-Defy absorbs harmful shock and returns energy to each step. This means better body alignment and improved biomechanics. Translation? Freedom to do what you love pain-free. G-Defy shoes have your back. Literally. They're a game changer for seniors and veterans who deserve comfort and support. Here's the deal. You can try G-Defy risk-free with a 60-day trial. And right now, listeners of this podcast get an exclusive offer, 50% off orders of $120 or more. Just text Dr. Phil to 91888. That's right. Half off shoes designed to improve your quality of life. So take control of your life. Text Dr. Phil to 91888 or visit gdefy.com today. It's time to feel good again because you deserve it. So Lane just went up in the air, like 25 feet.
What I remember, I had my eyes open the whole time, just being aware of my surroundings. So we were getting hit with debris, bricks, part of the house, wood, so hard, you just kept waiting and wanting to know what was going to hit you next. Mm-hmm. And the whole time there's dirt flying in your eyes, you can barely see. But it was an instance that you looked up and Lane was just gone and you didn't know which direction to look, up, down, sideways. It was just gone.
When we did finally stand, the tornado was still very close by.
Right.
And when the tornado was on you, it was very loud. And so that's why I was just screaming at the top of my lungs in hopes that he would hear me. And I thought, how are we ever going to find him other than just me yelling for him? And then ever so sweetly, he just says, I'm right here. I'm okay.
Yeah. And then like Kasey said, it was just a calm, peaceful, just, I'm over here. I'm okay. And at that time, I had turned around and I had been thrown about 25 feet in the opposite direction from where we first started. And I looked up about 50 feet from where I was, or 25 feet from where we started. And Lane was standing waist high in a pile of just soft attic insulation, just standing up under his own power and saying, I'm right here, I'm okay.
So he landed in something soft.
Yes.
He will tell you that. He says, I landed somewhere soft.
Yeah.
And
do you remember flying?
I remember losing control and getting tossed around, hit with everything at the same time and feeling helpless.
And then you saw Freddy scarred as you're running out there and you just yelled, help is here.
So I just remember my instinct was just to run away from the tornado, which was still just roaring right there. I obviously knew the house was gone. I knew that my car was gone. And so I obviously knew we didn't have a vehicle. And I look up and I see a car, which I had presumed to be a stormchaser because we had seen them on our county road. And I just started running to him. I was yelling, we gotta go, we gotta go. And I just had Allie and Lane like a little duckling, just followed right behind, and he was making sure everything else was okay. One of our dogs followed, and I just thought if I can run closer to him, then we can shorten the time of getting to our help that I believe the Lord sent to us.
When you were running to the car, there was hail this big around, dropping around you. That can knock you out.
Honestly, I don't even remember that. We were so banged up and bruised up, it probably wasn't affecting us at that point.
You think I just survived a tornado and I'm going to get taken out by a hailstone.
Yeah.
All right. Next, Kasey says Wes protected her. They protected their family. But Freddy the stormchaser protected them, protected the whole family. They haven't seen their hero since the dust settled, but that will change because he's here. That's after the break.
Come here! Come here! I got you! Come on! Come on! Come on! You're okay, bro! You're okay! You're okay! Right here! Listen! You're gonna be okay! Hold my hand! Don't let go! I'm still here with you, buddy. You hear me? You're gonna be all right. I'm here with you. Like, it was my calling to be here with you today.
Well, that was John, an everyday citizen who came across a violent highway shootout and without hesitation jumped out of his vehicle among the crossfire to help pull a wounded police officer to safety. Now, Kasey and Wes know how it feels to have a perfect stranger become a hero because they say a storm chaser named Freddy appeared at the very moment they needed help. And he is here. Freddy, come on out.
Appreciate it, brother.
How you doing, man? Good to meet you. Have a seat. Freddy, you're a storm chaser.
Yeah.
The hell are you thinking?
I mean, I just like to see tornadoes, you know?
Yeah. Apparently you had a good day because you saw one up close.
Yeah, that day was a little bit more than I bargained for, to be honest, but
I suspect
pretty crazy.
So. You say the real heroes are Kasey and Wes for protecting their children with such dedication and commitment.
The fact that they had the wits about them after just their home getting just annihilated by a tornado, and they just immediately jumped into parent mode. You know, I'm already just a crazy storm chaser. I mean, I'm out here chasing these tornadoes already. So it's not like I, you know, went out of my way to chase that tornado for them, but I just so happened to be in the right place at the right time where I was able to help them out.
Yeah. I'm teasing you for putting yourself out there and it seeming crazy, but we learn so much from what you do, and you know a lot about it, so you know how to move and stay away from them and all. But I was listening to your comments as you were going along, and you were saying, I've got to watch this and look at it and be sure it doesn't hit a house. And then you said, oh my God, it did hit a house. And then your next instinct was, I've got to make sure there was nobody in that house. You say, I'm just out there chasing and learning about these storms, but psychologically, I'm following your thought process. And I know you don't like being called a hero, but I'm telling you, you're certainly a responsible young man to respond to that, put yourself in a position and help these people at a time that they desperately needed it. And I think you got to acknowledge that. That's what I call being who you are on purpose.
Freddy had a choice. He could have done his job and sat back from a distance and continued filming and getting great footage so that we could all learn from tornadoes, just like you mentioned. But he did an excellent job of setting that aside and realizing there's people in distress that needed help and that needed immediate attention and to get to the hospital as quick as they could. And That's why we can't thank Freddy enough for being in that position.
Well, one of my pet peeves is too many people standing around with their cameras instead of putting them down and helping.
Yeah.
I see this footage sometimes on social media, and I'm thinking, why did that person not put the camera down and help this individual? He put the camera down and helped the individuals, and that just matters to me. There are two other people that would like to thank Freddy, and that's Wes and Kasey's children, 7-year-old Lane and 5-year-old Allie. So let's bring them out. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Everything all right? Well, you're looking a lot better than the pictures I saw recently. You still got a little scuff up there, but you're healing up pretty fast.
It's a lot better.
How you doing, Allie?
Good.
Good?
Look at
Yeah.
him.
You,
Shake his hand.
You
Hi, Freddy.
See you, Lane.
y'all remember him giving you a ride?
Yeah.
That's good. You were kind of bleeding on his back seat a little bit.
I remember in the car, I had so much sheetrock in my mouth. I just kept spitting, and I could not remember his name to save my life.
Yeah.
I said, "Sir, I'm so sorry. I just need to spit in your car." And then Lane was bleeding. We were all bleeding. And then our dog was also in the car with us.
Yeah.
And I mean, a wet dog. And so Freddy said, and I broke his door handle off when I was trying to get out at the ER.
Yeah.
And so poor Freddy. We owe Freddy a car.
Certainly a good detailing of your car. What kind of car were you driving?
A little Subaru.
Yeah? Well,
And then here's the thing about his little car. We had a local police officer said afterward he was trying to get to our house to check on us. He said, "I have no clue how Freddy made it out of there."
yeah.
There were so many trees down, power lines down,
In water,
And
the water.
water, mud.
He
In
should not
in a
have
little
made it.
car, that's an extremely difficult road to take.
I mean, it's not my first time driving through damage.
We have a stuffed animal named Freddy now at our house.
The dog.
The dog?
Yeah.
And we named it Freddy because Freddy's quite important to us, isn't he?
Yeah. So how are you feeling now?
Good.
Okay. And so where are y'all living now?
We're with my parents until we can find a rent house or a situation that's feasible through insurance.
Well, you're all alive and well and here, and that's what matters. The logistics will get worked out, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, God bless all of you.
Yes, sir.
Freddy, thank you for what you did. All right. Next, we're going to meet a 17-year-old who didn't hesitate to save a woman during an open water rescue. We'll be right back. $36 trillion. That is the U.S. debt, and it gets deeper and deeper by the day. Our debt has never been higher, nor have the stakes. The government is looking to slash the federal budget by $2 trillion, and no one knows what that will mean for your job, savings, and future. I've seen a lot in my time, and there's one thing I know for sure. You need to prepare before it's too late. I trust Preserve Gold to help protect my wealth, and I strongly urge you to do the same. They are the only precious metals firm I trust and recommend to my family, friends, and audience, and they have a special offer just for you. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue throughout 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 today. Now, my next guest, Jakob, says when he saw a woman drowning, nearly lifeless from exhaustion as she battled a dangerous current that was dragging her out to sea, he said he just had to act. His daring rescue was all caught on tape.
You don't have a float, do you?
No.
Is there a life ring or something?
Yeah, I gotta jump in.
Tiffany, turn around. Somebody's in the water. Right here.
Well, this 17-year-old is here, so Jacob, come on out. Jacob, how you doing, man? Good to meet you. Have a seat.
Thank you.
What was the temperature of that water?
Freezing.
Really?
Even though it's Florida, it's freezing, yeah.
Yeah.
At least for me, yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, you just kind of hurled yourself out there. Take me through that moment.
All right, so I was hanging out with my girlfriend. We decided to go to the beach. There's a north parking lot and a south parking lot. In between is the inlet. And I pull into the north parking lot, and I look across, and there's a group of people gathered looking in the water. And I take a closer look, and I see them pulling out a body, like a person, right? So I pull around to get a closer look. Like I drive over the bridge, pull into the south parking lot, and as I pull into the south parking lot, I look into the middle of the inlet, and I see her floating east into the ocean, face down. And I was like, man, I just gotta get in the water. I just couldn't watch her just float out because I know how that current gets outside of the inlet. So I just took off my shirt and jumped right in, did what I had to do.
Well, it looks like there's a pretty good current in the inlet.
Yes, sir. It's pulling about 25 knots through the inlet, sometimes stronger depending on the tide.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
So when you got to her, was she limp? Was she?
Oh, she was exhausted. Didn't even move. Literally lifted her head, and that was about it.
Are you trained as a lifeguard?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir.
Hell, you're not.
I've had no prior training. I mean, I'm dive certified. I do spear fishing, always on the boat and in the water. Whenever I get a chance, my dad taught me how to swim a long time ago.
Yeah, well, I'm dive certified, but I don't think I could pull somebody. They didn't go over that.
Yeah.
Also joining us is Jacob's mother, Janet. When you watch this on video, I'm sure you've seen it before. What did you think?
My first reaction was, Jacob, what were you thinking? And he said, Mom, I had to jump in and save her. Plus, if she would have gone further, she would have just gone tucked into the rocks because of the currents.
Right.
So I'm just happy that everything turned out fine because she could have pulled him down as well and they both would have drowned.
Yeah,
So.
and you say his being there was just God's perfect timing.
God put him there because he had no intention on going to that particular beach that day.
Yeah.
They just happened to pull in.
Well, we're going to take a break, and next, the mother of the young woman that Jacob rescued has a heartfelt message for him. We'll share that after the break. Now, I've been speaking with 17-year-old Jacob, who risked his life to save a woman from drowning. The mother of the woman Jacob rescued is named Michelle, and she wanted to thank him, but wanted to do that in person because they have never met. So, Michelle, come on out.
You have no idea. Thank you so
Well, Michelle, it's good to meet you. What do you want to say to Jacob?
There's just so much. When I watched the video, the fact that the first words that I heard were, I have to go in. There was just no question for you to save a life. It means so much. And it feels silly to say thank you because it's just 2 words, but you impacted our lives in more ways than I think that you realize.
You say that learning that Jacob wants to be a firefighter was very emotional for you. Why?
So my husband was a firefighter several years ago. He was murdered in an active shooter situation. We were in the restaurant with him. So when I watched your story, and I was like, I couldn't figure out, I'm like, why is he at the fire station? And then when they said that you were, wanted to be a firefighter, it just really, that was like God telling us, I'm right here, and I'm gonna spice it up and check this out. He wants to be a firefighter. So this was definitely made for you, and it really just came at a point where, I don't think grief ever ends. It's waves that come through, and at that perfect timing, my daughter needed to know that she is worthy, and there's a purpose for her. I just couldn't believe you were 17. So, this young man has a heart of a first responder, because that's what it takes. I'm a first responder also, and we have to dive in, not think. We just have to help, and that was in your blood. And then I thought about how proud you made your family and set an example for your siblings.
What do your friends think about all this?
They haven't really told me what they think about it, but I kind of feel like if any of my friends were put in that same situation, they would have done the same. A life is, worth saving. Any life is worth saving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, next we're going to meet a young man whose lunch break became an opportunity to save a woman's life. My next guest, Gabriel, was on his lunch break when he walked into a Subway restaurant only to find a female employee being physically and verbally assaulted by a man, while customers filmed the violent attack and did nothing. Well, Gabriel took matters into his own hands. Take a look at this surveillance footage. That heroic young man is here. Gabriel, come on out. How you doing, man? Good to meet you. Have a seat. You say you were raised in a small country town where you just don't turn your back when somebody needs help.
Correct. I am a man of faith, and I believe I was put there at the perfect timing, and I was equipped with, the skills to do what I did there. And
what did you perceive when you walked in? What was happening?
Well, I had heard it from outside the doors. When I walk in, I saw him kind of have his hand in the tip jar, and it seemed like it was stuck to his hand, and he had thrown it at her, and it hit her, and I saw what I needed to see to do that. Afterwards, the lady had told me that he had threatened her life. I didn't hear that part, but I just heard yelling from the outside.
Yeah, you took him down pretty hard there. Yeah, there you go. You played by the rules. You didn't hit him. You didn't choke him. You just held him until the police came, right?
Correct.
And what was his attitude once he realized that he had walked into the wrong place at the wrong time and turned around and met the wrong person?
He had some words to say while all that was going on. I think once he felt some of the moves I put on him, he knew he was stuck.
Yeah. You started wrestling at 9 years old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Correct.
Yeah. So that came in pretty handy.
It did, yeah. It did.
So what did the police have to say?
They were actually really cool. I did help them put the cuffs on, and, they shook my hand and congratulated me.
Yeah. What was going through your mind when you decided to intervene? What did you say to yourself?
It happened so fast. I did, about 30 seconds in, I was like, what did I get myself into? Because I held him there for about 4 minutes. So, there's a lot of thoughts going on, and yeah.
There's this, it's called the bystander effect, where people, they're willing to videotape it or willing to stand back and make comments or whatever, but they don't insert themselves into the situation because they could get hurt. They could hurt somebody. They could wind up getting sued. And I've got to say, maybe we're a litigious society. Maybe have become, kind of jaded about all of this. But we have too many bystanders and not enough people that step up and help. And I just think it's great that you did what you did.
Thank you.
All right, next, a young man on a late night drive that ended in him saving 5 lives, including 4 children from a house engulfed in flames. My next guest, Nick, was on a late night drive when he saw a house on fire. With no help in sight, Nick ran inside the home, and what did he find? Well, he found 4 people, including 3 children, inside the house that was already engulfed in flames. But a 6-year-old girl was still trapped inside. So what did Nick do? He ran back inside, located the young girl, wrapped her up in his arms, and jumped from a second-story window. Nick's act of heroism nearly cost him his life, as you will see in this body cam footage.
6-year-old female and a 22-year-old male possibly inside.
I had to jump out of the window with this girl. When we hit, we got up and ran to the street.
Come with me, we gotta get away from the house.
I had a laceration. I had about a cup of soot from smoke inhalation. I had a bunch of scars.
Okay, we got these 3 girls and then the little girl that you brought out.
They said that my heart rate dropped extremely low and that they had to give me something to bring it back up.
Yep.
I was told I was dying.
Stop bleeding out of that wound. Raise his arm up. Do you know where it's at?
Is the baby okay? Please tell me that baby's okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, she's okay.
100%?
Yep, you're okay. You did good, dude.
Well, joining us virtually right now is Nick. You nearly lost your own life during all this, right?
Yeah. In the ambulance, I was battling for my life.
You didn't have a phone at the time, so you couldn't call 911 for help. So what was your thought process at the time as you were out in front of this house?
To make sure that there was nobody in there.
Yeah.
See a house on fire, it's just what your instinct to think, you know.
What did you see when you were driving by?
No, so at the beginning, it was like the size of a 3-foot by 3-foot campfire. It was on the deck or the front porch of their house. I had to take a second look just to put together what was really going on, you know. I stumped on the brakes and turned the car around and I pulled into the driveway, turned the hazards on, ran around the side of their house to the back door, opposite side of the fire was from, and I banged on their door. I waited like a second and I opened it up and I was screaming and nobody was answering. So I just proceeded through. As I'm hollering through the house and up the staircase, I was met with a full 4 faces at the door.
Did they wonder what you were doing on their stairway?
Their face expression said it all.
Yeah. Could they see smoke and fire, or did you have to tell them?
I had to tell them. And after I told them without hesitation, they followed me. So we get to the back porch, and that's when I asked if there was anybody left in there or anyone else in there. And they said there was a baby in there. So I went back through, and that's when I was met with a wall of smoke. I heard her crying and screaming, and I followed it with my ears. And I picked her up. I followed the light. He started to go up the stairs, fell down, got back up, got to the top, and we were met with the fire coming from the room that her older siblings were in. So I turned to the first room on my right, and it's the bathroom with a really tiny window, and we weren't going to fit through it. So I looked in the last room there was left looking right next to it, and luckily it was a bedroom with a full-size window, and we ran up to it. She was in my arms. I started ripping the curtains off, then the blinds. And as I'm ripping the blinds off, the string gets caught around her ankle. So I stop what I'm doing, unwrap it, and I go to punch the window, and my fist bounces off. So I take a second punch at it, and I bust through the window, cutting my arm, and the fire just blew. It roared past the window. As that happened, she said, "I don't want to jump through." And pretty much as she said that, I took my step back and we jumped through shoulders first. And I tried my best to take the impact, and we landed, and she landed on top. And in the video, that's us at the finish line.
That's amazing. And you've been awarded a Carnegie Medal, the highest civilian award for putting yourself at risk of death and saving these other people. And well-deserved, my friend, well-deserved.
Thank you, sir.
We need more people like you, and I'm proud to meet you.
Thank you, sir, for having me on. I love your show.
Thank you. You know, one of the things that I've said a lot is we've got a generation of young people that are living on their phones. And one of the things I've said is nothing amazing is going to happen to you on your phone. But you put the phone down and you look around the world and see what's happening, amazing things can happen. We saw all of these people that we do, and they had amazing impact on people's lives by engaging. We absolutely don't want to go through this life being bystanders. I was answering a question earlier. What was a piece of advice I would give to somebody that was just getting out and starting their life? And it was, be who you are on purpose. Live your life with intentionality. And to do that, you really need to stop and think, who am I? What are my values? What do I care about? What do I stand for? And what am I willing to do? And when the situation presents itself, what will you do? We learn about ourselves. That's how we form our self-image. That's how we form our level of self-esteem, by watching what we do in different situations. Be prepared to meet the challenge. When you overcome the adversity, write that on the slate of who you are, and that will be indelible. What's gold is new again, pardon the pun. But considering gold has been used as currency since around 550 BCE, it has been on fire the past year. I'm here again with Daniel Boston, the founder of Preserve Gold. Why is gold so stable and such a good investment for many people?
When money rotates out of stocks and bonds during a market crash, when it rotates out of cash during periods of inflation, it just needs a place to go. It tends to gravitate towards gold and silver first because they are the classic safe haven investments, and that's what causes prices to go higher. So when you have central banks that are amassing gold at record levels, JP Chase has amassed the largest stockpile in silver in US history. That tells us that these institutions, let's take the central bank, for example, the Federal Reserve. They print money out of thin air, and then they take that printed money to go buy hard assets like gold to protect themselves against the very risks that they're creating. So I always tell people, don't do what the big players are telling you to do. Do what they're doing themselves.
Yeah, watch what they're doing.
That's correct.
Okay. So you got somebody over here, they've got money in a retirement account, they've got money in a savings account, they got money in their mattress, and they want to start investing with Preserve Gold. How do they do it? How do they get started?
Yeah, we work with people from all ranges. Whether you've been doing this for a long time or this is your first time, we do a lot of hand-holding. We take pride in not allowing our investors to come into the precious metals market with their eyes closed. You can give us a call at our toll-free number, 877-444-0923. One of our precious metals experts will really take the time with you to really ascertain and understand what are your goals, both short-term, long-term. And then based on that, we can provide some recommendations. Look, at the end of the day, this may not be the right investment for you, or it may be the right choice for you, but we're here to provide the information so you can land in a place where you can make the most informed decision for yourself.
Tell them the number one more time.
877-444-0923. You can text Phil to 50505, or you can check out our website, www.preservegold.com.
All right, no way you can miss it. Daniel, thank you so much.
Thanks, Phil.
All right. Thanks to you at home for finding us here on Merit TV. You can pick up my book. We've got issues, how you can stand strong for America's soul and sanity. I talk about this very thing in that book. You can get the Merit Plus app by going to Apple Store or Google Play and keep up with it all. You can just text me at 59627 or simply type Phil, P-H-I-L, and we will then keep you posted every step of the way on new developments, things that are happening here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.